Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I am here with my great co-hosts, Patricia Kirkman, PK, and George Lugo, famous psychic medium, and Miss PK is a numerologist, and we have, all three of us actually, been talking about these fast radio bursts that have been reported in the news. And PK, you've looked at the numbers. George, you've focused your abilities on what's going on. Are they trying to send us a message? We're going to start there. So, PK, what do the numbers say about this?
Well, predominantly the numbers revolve around the number 7, which is about secretive situations and information being made known. And it doesn't matter where I try to look at it, it ends up showing that the 7s are predominant throughout. Looking at the number, what I'm looking at, the FRB, and then the numbers that follow, it becomes a 7 or a 9. Majority are 7s, which, as I say, revolves around secrets. The bursts every 4 days, a 12-day lapse in between, ends up being another 7. So everything is about 7. It's all about, it's like drawing, 7 is information as well as secrets. So all types of information is being shown to us. The hard part is for us getting to figure out exactly what the secret is. And that's what a lot of people are working on or working towards. The discovery of this was in 2007, which was a 9-year, ending old issues from the past. So the doors are opening up in many different directions, but it keeps revolving back around the numbers 7 and 9 predominantly. So I find it very interesting to find that the secrets, that certainly it's what's taking place, and then the time frequency between the flash and the stop is, again, we've got that 7 pattern. Very interesting to see how this works out.
So 7 is a number of secrets. It's a number of information. Is it also a number of the spirit?
Yeah, it's spirituality.
So spirituality. Okay.
Yeah, it's spiritual secrets, that's for sure, and all things being made known. 7 deals with the study of learning. And all things that pull all of this together comes out of the 7 that when we're looking at the galaxy SDSS and the numbers that follow, again, we're looking at a 7. And the numbers that follow break down at 4 in the interim and a 7 at the end. 4 deals with the details, work-related issues. When we bring them together again, we end up with our 7s again.
That's
so
interesting.
It's quite interesting to find out that the pattern that they're trying to show us deals with the fact of we need to learn what they're looking at or how they're seeing it. Right now, we can't put a pin in this dial right now. It's coming from so many different directions, but regardless of which way we go, it still goes back to information being made known and the idea of things that deal with the spiritual side. Too much of it keeps going back to, as I say, it goes back to spirituality. Numbers to be learned, also the teaching. It repeats every 16 days. That's a 7. It's about information is being made known. We just don't know how to break it down yet.
That's fascinating. Well, great work, PK. Thank you for taking a look at that. And George, what did you sense from this?
Yeah, I sense that it's a language that we're going to learn. In fact, we already are learning it. I have a few people that I know that work with this kind of stuff, and they're sending this signal. It's like an alphabet. It's also like a blueprint of things that we are uncovering now. So we're not too much in the dark. There's certain agencies that are studying this and writing this all down, and we're learning about what's going to happen in the future with these intelligent beings that are sending us this repeated signal over and over and over. It's going to change. You're going to see a change in the signal. I'd give it another probably, well, I don't know, I think it's changing already, but I think in another year you're going to see a really big difference in the change of that signal, and we'll get it. We'll decipher it and use it to bridge this gap that we have right now. But right now it's all about, all these UFOs that are showing up and all the, kind of breaking us in, so to speak. But the signal is going to reveal everything. And
wow. 2.5 2.5 years is what I'm getting.
Something like that,
Yeah,
and
information is going to be made known, more information this coming year. And
right,
then
absolutely.
it will be pushed out, and then within 2 years of that, we will get the answers we need, or shall we say the index of what they're going to be teaching us.
Absolutely, yep. Yeah, and some of our, I hate to say too much because I don't want to get myself in trouble, but the astronauts are learning this language. Some of our astronauts are learning this whole new way of communicating, and you're going to see that come out too. It's being done already, but you're going to see a lot more of it once they get people comfortable with it. That's going to take some time. Anyway, that's pretty much it.
Wow, that's
pretty simple,
great, George.
actually.
Well, you guys are pretty on the leading edge, I'd have to say, because that's really great information. Both of you did a great job. Thank you for taking a look at that and coming up with this. It makes sense to me, and I do agree with both of you. I think that things are going to be coming out. So that's terrific. Well, I want to suggest to everybody, if you want a numerology reading for yourself, a friend or a loved one, you should go to patriciakirkman.com, or you can find PK on our website, supernaturalgirls.com, and you can set that up with PK. And for George, you can find George for a psychic mediumship reading at crystalgatereadings.com. Again, that is crystalgatereadings.com. And if you want to talk to me, I am to be found at supernaturalgirls.com. Also, you can send me an email if you'd like a soul realignment reading, if you would like dream analysis, or just plain life coaching. So be sure to reach out to all of us. We've got some great tools to offer you and some beautiful candles on sale made by Katrina Raspel, the Bruja from California, and they are some kind of powerful. So take a look at those, and any questions for any of us, feel free to reach out anytime. We'd love to hear from you. And tonight we have a great guest. We're so honored to have him with us, and what a book he has written called Unconventional Aerial Phenomena in the Hudson and Wallkill River Valley of New York. His name is Bruce Cornet, and he received his bachelor's degree in 1970 in biology from the University of Connecticut, a master's degree in 72 in paleobotany from that same university, and graduated from Penn State with a Ph.D. in geology and palynology, if I'm pronouncing that right, the study of fossil spores and pollens used to age-date rocks. Between 1988 and 93, he held a research position at Lamont-Doherty Earth Observatory, part of Columbia University, and was the wellsite geologist for the Newark Basin Coring Project in New Jersey. Now, he has provided detailed analyses of those cores with Olsen and Kent, and documented a 28 million year period of Earth's climate, which was forced by the precession of the equinox, enabling precision dating down to the nearest 10,000 years, something that has never before been possible. Now, there are so many things interesting about Bruce Cornet, and we're going to find out more. However, he's talking to us tonight about the UFOs. I'll tell this again. It's highly documented in this book that you have to get. It's just so fascinating. We're also going to be talking about one of our favorite subjects, portals. So let's bring him on the show. Bruce, Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, Patricia. Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Just fire away. Ask me questions, and I'll try to give you the best answers I can.
Okay. Well, you were brought into this whole phenomenon by Bud Hopkins, right? That's what piqued your interest?
Well, his book, Intruders, that's what got me started on this. I saw the miniseries on television, and as a scientist, I was surprised that this subject got primetime television time. And I went to the bookstore to get a copy of his book with Dr. John Mack, and the book manager suggested that I also purchase another book called Silent Invasion by Ellen Crystal. And I purchased that book not knowing why he had suggested I purchase it, but as I started to read it, I was really shocked to find out that it was about the area I lived in and all of the sightings that Ellen had around Middletown, New York, near Pine Bush, New York. And I realized that now I had an opportunity to contact her and ask her to take me out into the field, which she did. And on the very first night, she took me out with several other sky watchers. I saw things that I could not explain, Pat. This was just extraordinary stuff of these craft coming out of the ground, going into the ground, flying around us, flying over us, and yet this was not anywhere near a major airport. And so why is not the government more interested in this? You know, I mean, they are clearly violating our airspace and doing things that are totally unconventional. I mean, they're not conventional aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft. They can stop and hover and do right-angle turns and do a lot of things. And Ellen talks about how when she got involved in this field, this area, the craft would start following her around. And when I went out with her, they would come to us and start putting on performances. And because we were using cameras to document this and video cameras and SLRs, they would create these sky glyphs in the night sky. And with a series of time exposures, I was able to document what the type of shapes and symbols that they were creating for us and putting them on my photographic canvas. Why is this important? Because nobody else has had this type of contact happen, where you go out into the field and they come to you and they put on performances, and we captured a tremendous amount of data. I spent 11 years working on this. One of the things that Ellen said in her book is that she felt that there was an underground alien base. And I was seeing these craft diving down into the trees, into farm fields and things like that, and disappearing. And they were clearly not landing on any landing strip. And then they would also come out of the ground as well. And I was working at Lamont-Doherty Earth Observatory at the time, and I had access to a proton magnetometer, a Precession proton magnetometer, which is used by geologists to determine the Earth's magnetic field in any given area. And I figured that if there was anomalous signals or electromagnetic activity going on below ground, that my magnetometer would detect it, and it did. I did a 24-square-mile magnetic survey with 1,800 stations. It took me 3 years to complete, and the results were just mind-blowing. All sorts of activity, especially around the center of what I call the hot spot, because that's where I documented time and time again these craft coming out of the ground and going into the ground. And when I went over it with my magnetometer, the electromagnetic spectrum just went crazy. And so that there was something below ground that was very hot. in the electromagnetic spectrum, indicating that it's artificial. And
right.
But so why weren't the military interested in this? It turns out that they are extremely interested in this, and they've let me just go almost carte blanche anywhere in the area, and even the police would not stop me to cutting across people's property and taking measurements. And I realized that they wanted this information, and I was the only person that could capture this information. If they sent any government employees in there, they would probably have been stopped by somebody. And the magnetic survey I did showed a very close correlation between where the craft were coming out of the ground and disappearing into the ground with granitic masses just below the ground that showed up on the magnetic map. And these represented islands that existed over 400 million years ago in a shallow sea in the area. And all these islands are surrounded by black shale and black siltstone. And what is interesting is I found on several of them signals coming out of the ground and being fired into space. And on one in particular,
wow.
I mapped it very carefully. And this was underneath a Jewish cemetery along Route 52. And I found these magnetic beams coming out of the ground that would be detectable every time the constellation Bootes was overhead. And not suspecting that there was some sort of an artificial electromagnetic device below ground, I began suspecting that what I was dealing with was a huge alien probe that had landed on Earth on this island 400 million years ago. Then the island sank, the sea came in and covered it over with mud and more rock on top, and recently the area has been uplifted geologically recently, and when the History Channel came in and did a survey of this area with a ground-penetrating radar, we actually cut across a corner of it, and you could see a huge triangular craft that goes down more than 20 feet, below, and it's 9 feet below the surface, and it is sending signals out into space, and it's still active. Geiger counter shows that it's nuclear powered, and it's been on Earth for that long. So
wow.
ET has
That's
known
amazing.
about Earth for virtually all for the entire time that complex life has been on Earth. ET has known about us.
Amazing.
This is
incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible, Bruce. And again, the amount of time you've spent researching this and reporting on your findings is just spectacular. And you've provided such a wealth of information in your book. Again, the name of it is Unconventional Aerial Phenomena in the Hudson and Wallkill River Valley of New York. Go get the book, guys. You just won't believe the amount of information that's here, that's scientifically backed up. So, Bruce, here you are. You're now involved full-blown with the UFO stuff, and you're able to document these incredible anomalies. What's the connection between these magnetic anomalies and UFOs?
Well, basically, that they have use electromagnetic devices below ground, and their ships are electromagnetic and anti-gravity. And the one thing I discovered when I documented all of this is that many of them that are angular in shape, they come in the form of triangles and diamond shapes, or even sometimes cigar shapes, that they are all trying to mimic conventional aircraft in navigation lights at night and with the sounds. Because we have the Stewart Air Force and Army Base just across the valley, and you have all of these military flights coming in and out, and that's also an international airport, and we have commercial flights coming in and out, and we have an Orange County Airport nearby, and you have small private planes flying over the area, and you have the whole valley populated by many little towns all across Wallkill River Valley, from Pine Bush to Walden to Wallkill to Montgomery to Middletown, etc. And the activity of these craft is quite significant. I mean, they're coming out at night. They're mostly stealth black. Some of them are white, perfectly white, and some of them mimic our conventional aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft. So they try to blend in with the commercial and military aircraft by using strobes on them that are positioned in such a way to mimic the navigation lights and the headlights of commercial aircraft. And I've discovered that quite early on, and Ellen Crystal believed that also. She reports that in her book, that she's seen things that look like a 747 landing in a farm field. And of course, that couldn't be one of ours, because 747s don't land in farm fields. And
right.
And one of the things I discovered is that every time they would put on a performance, they would light up their paired headlights, get our attention, and then they would climb up from behind tree rows in a distant field, and they would arc over us and then dive behind us into the forest or fields behind us. And this happened again and again, and I show many of those the time exposures that I captured of those performances. And when they would fly over us, they would produce sounds that, to the human ear, sounded like a turbofan jet engine. But there was something very wrong about the sound. And through spectrographic analysis, I was able to determine that they were artificial and that they reversed the normal physics of Doppler. So do you know what Doppler is?
Yes.
And so as a conventional aircraft approaches you, the frequency of the sound of the jet engines increases. And then as the jet moves away or airplane moves away, the sound frequency decreases. Invariably, all of these craft, when they came at us and flew over us, the frequency of the sound decreased until it was the lowest frequency when it was right over us. And then as they flew away, it increased. Not only that, but the spectrograms showed no white noise. All jet engines and turbofan engines produce white noise, and there was none in these spectrograms. And the sounds were divided into 10 to 12 individual frequencies that paralleled one another, and I realized that this sound was being made by what we would call a electronic synthesizer, a music synthesizer, and so it was clearly artificial. But Dr. Jacques Sarfati out in California has been doing a lot of theorizing on the nature of the metaphysical hulls of these craft based on information that has been released by the government. And it turns out that in a gravity field, the Doppler effect is reversed. It's reverse Doppler. And what I've captured on my audio records is the smoking gun for anti-gravity craft. In other words, you can distinguish if these craft produce sound, you can distinguish the sound from that of a normal Doppler and recognize that this is not one of ours.
My God, no wonder they let you continue your research, because you really know what you're talking about. So you must have contributed a lot, knowingly or unknowingly, to the military's interest in this.
Right. I had hundreds of websites I've published in 3 different servers in 2 different countries. And you can go find them just by linking on to one of my websites, and I'll link other websites. And in fact, the book I wrote has links all the way through it. And there is at the end of chapter 1, I put a link for Appendix 1. And if you go to that website, you will get a sequential chronological list of all the sightings, numbered, dated, with explanation of what was seen and who witnessed it, and then the photographs that were taken. And so I have over 137 close encounters accumulated or recorded over that 11-year period.
Phenomenal.
And, so there are all types of craft that would come out of the ground. Now we're hearing from the To the Stars Academy and from the Navy about these Tic Tac craft that look like a cylinder, and those were there too in Pine Bush as well. We saw them putting on all sorts of performances. So this is, and the fascinating thing is that I had a tracking mechanism on my web pages back in the late 90s, and I found many government agencies downloading my web pages constantly.
Wow.
No surprise there, right?
No surprise, right.
And they get it for free, right?
Right.
They sure did. They should have paid you for everything you did. But my goodness, you have such a wealth of knowledge, and again, all backed up by research in science. And I think you're one of the very few people we've had on the show that has this level of expertise and has been able to produce this level of research. It's quite remarkable what you've done, Bruce.
Very thorough.
Well, thank you, Pat.
Let me go back
and
to what
you can
talked about.
For those who don't want to spend the $25 to get a paper copy of my book, they can buy a Kindle electronic version and read it online. And I think you can download them onto your computer and read them there. And the Kindle version is all the pictures are in color. The disadvantage with the paper copy is that all the pictures are in black and white. So, and if you go to the Appendix 1 online, all the pictures are in color, except for those that were taken in black and white. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's an enormous amount of information. But let me go back to what you were talking about with the rock, because you mentioned in the book granite, and you also mentioned Precambrian rock. And
yes,
we've heard a lot about granite boulder fields where people go missing and they're never seen again. Now, it seems like there's a connection here. What can you tell us about granite and the Precambrian rock you mentioned in the book?
Well, one of the things that about granite is that it is interlocking crystals of different types that is very hard. Granite, in fact, it's what the Egyptians made many of their monuments out of, because it is so resistant to erosion and very durable. And in the Wallkill River Valley, these granite masses that were islands 400 million years ago, they would provide a material in which they could have cavities, create cavities for their underground bases. Now, the black shale that surrounds these islands is very weak and unstable, and you couldn't build an underground base in those black shales because of the potential for collapse and cave-ins. But in the granite, you could get this very solid material where you could have an underground base. Now, that's the first thing that comes to mind as a geologist. But I've also heard that there's this tendency for portals to open up in the granite masses. And one could easily connect the dots, say, well, why is the portal there? It's because it is opening into something that's in that granite, right? An opening or a place inside the granite. And one of the things that Ellen Crystal describes in her book is that she was in a field at one time, and suddenly this huge opening occurred, a portal occurred right in front of her in the ground, where the ground opened up, and she felt hot air coming out from below ground. And she went over to it and was looking at it, and suddenly it closed. When whoever had opened that portal realized that she was standing there and watching them. And I mean, when I first went out and started my magnetic survey, I had this computer in a box hanging from my chest with all the controls and LEDs to display on top, and then a cable came from that box to a what looked like a coffee can, where the sensor was for determining the magnetic field, and that was on the end of a long pole. Now you can just sort of imagine me walking along streets with this long pole and with these coffee cans sticking on either end, and as people drove by, they would slow down and they'd look at me and wonder, what in the world is he doing? Well, yeah. Well, I was not. They were not the only ones who noticed me there. I found out quite early when I started my research. When I went out in with Pat, my late ex-wife, she went with me, and we walked up and down Route 52 near the Jewish cemetery, where this underground alien probe is positioned. And everywhere I walked and took readings, I would pace off 10 paces and then take a reading, another 10 paces and take a reading, and I would mark this on a map as I was going along, and I'll record the readings that I would have. Every reading showed these enormous 10 to 12,000 gamma spikes, electromagnetic spikes. And it was quite clear that I could not take any reliable measurements. I thought the instrument was malfunctioning. I took it back to the lab, had them check it out. They said it works fine. So a couple days later, I went back out in the field to see if those spikes were still occurring. And the only place they were occurring was right where those magnetic beams were coming out of this entombed alien probe. Everywhere else, I was getting normal readings. So at that point, I started my magnetic survey. It wasn't long, only a day later, that I was taking measurements along Albany Post Road, and there's a large field in front of me, and this is out in the middle of country, all right, farm country, and there's, the towns are small hamlets embedded within this farming area, and there was a private house nearby, and I started to take several readings with the magnetometer, and what I would do is I would take 5 readings and to get an average, because the magnetic readings always vary just a little bit. And after taking the third reading I took, I got a negative, I think it was something like 60 gamma negative anomaly. And whereas all the others were typically normal, as I had been getting everywhere else. And then I went to take another reading, the fourth reading, and as I pushed the button to take the reading, there was this crack, like a sound of a rifle going off, and I felt the sting in my chest, and I saw my shirt go in and out where something hit me, and I didn't see any blood. I didn't feel any pain after that sting that hit me. I took that measurement, and it was something like 800 gammas below normal. And I said, wow, what the heck is this? So then I took another reading to see if I got the same. No, it dropped down to negative 100 gammas. I took another one. It went back to like 10 gammas below normal. Then it went back to normal. So I took a whole series of measurements, and I got this. I had pushed the button exactly when that shot went off. And so I had proof that I was shot by a magnetic rail gun type of device. That I realized that somebody had hit me, and I put my equipment back in my truck, went home, and took off my shirt, and there was this bruise on the lower left of my chest, right opposite my left kidney, and it was indented and it had a red dot at the center. And I took a picture of it, and that's in the book. And I didn't feel anything after that. In other words, I just saw the bruise gradually healed, and 10 days later I started passing blood. Oh. Well, I called my doctor, and he said, come on in right now. And I went in, and he took a urine sample, and he said, you have a very bad kidney infection. And he gave me some powerful antibiotics. That cured the infection. But it was clear that something had penetrated my body and ended up damaging my left kidney. And when I came home from the doctor's that night, I was met at the Harriman interchange and exit in a toll booth. I was met by a craft that was hovering over the toll booth. And all you could see was a white light and a red light behind it. And when I went through the toll and onto Route 17 back going west to Middletown where I lived, the craft came right over my truck and paced me all the way home. And as we passed Orange County Airport, I was watching this thing. I would speed up to try to get closer to it because it's right off to the side of the highway, and it would speed up, and I would slow down, way down to like 30 miles an hour, and it would slow down. And so I realized it was not going to allow me to get close enough to see what it looked like up close. And then we came to these air traffic, small private planes flying to and from Orange County Airport across the highway. It rose up above that air traffic, turned on lights that resembled those of the private planes, navigation lights, proceeded across them, and then turned back its lights to just a single white light and red light, and came down over the trees and paced me all the way home. And I ran in when I got home, got a camera, and I took a picture of it. And I think that picture is in my book as well, showing it this hovering in the sky. But it was clear that they whoever was following me or pacing me knew I had been shot and knew I'd gone to the doctors, and they're apparently concerned about me, you know. And so after that, whenever I went out into the field, the ships would come to me and follow me around. And
no kidding.
So in some cases they followed me, paced me along the highways for more than 70 miles, and that became a normal type of activity. You know, anywhere I was driving in New Jersey, New York, at that time, and getting all of this, attention by these craft, and so I continued my research. Continue to go out in the field, continue to take pictures of their performances, and that's what resulted in my book.
So how's your health now? How's your health?
You're very brave. I mean, I don't know many people that after being shot with a ray gun would go back. So applause, much applause.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Woo.
But has it changed your overall health?
Well, no. Actually, my health was pretty good during that period of time.
Okay.
In fact, what was really strange is I felt that I was growing. So I would measure my height against a door frame, and my height actually grew by about 2 inches during that period of time.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Did it stay at that additional height?
No, then it shrunk back with age.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious about. I wonder what the purpose is, because something else we've seen in the past, the kidneys being attacked. I wonder what the issue is with the kidneys.
I think it wasn't intentional to hit my kidney.
Okay.
It just happened to be where the kidney was in the
landed,
way.
huh?
Right, where the tracking device landed.
Uh-huh.
And but ever since I went west of the Mississippi River for that job with National Institute for Discovery Science, I stopped having sightings. And it's only been in this last year that I've started to have sightings again. I had 2 sightings here in El Paso. So, and this is consistent with all of the activity around the world that is increasing. But for a period of, let's see, from 2003 until 2019, that's a 16-year period, I didn't see any sightings.
Now, is that what you were working for Robert Bigelow?
Yeah, that was at NIDS. I only spent 4 months there before he shut the place down. And he hired me, brought me all the way out there, and then decided, no, I don't want to continue with this, and he shuts it down.
Oh, wow.
And if it hadn't been for me meeting the woman that is the woman of my life right now, Sharon, she saved me, because when Bigelow let me go, she said, well, why don't you come live with me in El Paso? And I did, and that's how I got down here to El Paso.
Uh-huh.
That was graceful. Well, did you get a chance to see what?
Part, right?
Yeah. Did you
Pardon?
get a chance to see what Bigelow had? Because I hear he has all kinds of alien artifacts in his building.
No, yeah, they didn't show me very much during that 4 years. In fact, most of those alien artifacts he's acquired since then.
Oh.
And yeah, and the rumors that he sold the ranch. Yes, he did sell Skinwalker Ranch, but then he kept on providing security for the new owners of the ranch, and two of them, by the name of Chris, they spent 6 years at the ranch monitoring all of the paranormal activity. And what is really bizarre is that you know Erica Lukes, don't you?
No.
No, she's of UFO Classified of K-Core Radio out of Las Vegas, and she is fascinated by Skinwalker Ranch to the extent that when she heard about somebody introduced her to Chris Mack. He was one of the guys that spent 6 years there at the ranch documenting all of the Skinwalker, etc. They fell in love, and now she married him.
Oh, no kidding.
So, this is a small family.
I guess.
But
that's amazing. Well, yeah, that's another mystery, Skinwalker. But again, can I just ask you a question again about rocks, because this is something you're so expert at. You mentioned Precambrian. There's a reason I'm asking about that too. What are the qualities of that? Does that have anything to do with these geomagnetic fields? Because that's a very old rock also.
No. Precambrian is before the Cambrian, okay? And Cambrian is the first period within the Phanerozoic, which is when complex multicellular life becomes fossilized. And you can see it very clearly. It's the Phanerozoic means to see life as fossils. And before the Cambrian, their fossils are very, very rare. Mostly they're algae fossils and they're jellyfish fossils. And no complex organisms until the Cambrian. They call it the Cambrian explosion, about 550 million years ago. And Precambrian just means that it's before complex life evolved on this planet. And but the rocks that I've been studying there in the Wallkill River Valley are much, much older. Okay, they're billions of years older. And they contain all sorts of exotic elements, rare earths. And there's a mine area around Franklin, New Jersey, at the border with New York, that was active for decades. And they mined all the way down through this one granitic mass where they're finding all of these exotic minerals. And you can they turn it into a museum, and you can see all the kinds of minerals that they pulled out of it. I mean, it's just like everything in the periodic table, okay? And these granitic masses formed very early in the Earth's history when separation and differentiation of mineral aggregates had not yet occurred. It's like all of the stardust that came together to form our planet was just joined together helter-skelter, and that's why these granitic masses are so rich in unique minerals that are only found in those locations in the valley. That's fascinating to me.
It is.
And it's probably why the alien probes landed on those islands, and they were extracting these minerals, these elements.
Oh, okay.
So they were the early mining probes because at the time they landed about 420 million years ago, only the simplest of marine life existed. Fish had only just started to evolve at that point, but you had trilobites, you had cephalopod type of shells, and preserved in the rocks of that time period, and but nothing much more complex. You didn't have any plants. You might have had some early seaweed types of plants, but you didn't have any really complex life till about 10 million years later, when things really started taking off in the Phanerozoic and the Paleozoic. So we have a lot of stuff there in happening at that particular time in Earth's history from a mineral standpoint. And you can go and you can look at the black shales that would contain organic material. And what is fascinating is that those black shales in the valley are mostly radioactive. And people don't realize this. And fortunately, because of weathering, when those shales are exposed, they weather and the radioactive elements are washed away. So people can build their homes on it. But you've heard of radon and things like that.
Yeah.
These rocks are full of those types of radioactive elements. And, people, if you don't know about it, then it's not going to hurt you, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! So we're going to take a very short commercial break and come back and go ahead with this incredible conversation with our guest tonight, Bruce Cornet. He is the author of an incredible book. We highly recommend it to our audience, Unconventional Aerial Phenomena in the Hudson and Wallkill River Valley of New York. Now stay tuned, everybody. You are listening to Supernatural Girls Radio, and we will be right back.
Pure essential oils, specialized minerals, and a revolutionary anti-aging technology. Astridian combines the best of all scientifically proven ingredients in easy-to-use creams, lotions, and concentrated serums. Astridian's advanced line of products take your skin to a new level of being healthy and beautiful. We offer a variety of collections that address all your skin concerns. The Essential Anti-Aging Series treats and moisturizes your skin for a long-lasting, younger look. The Multivitamin Series promotes healthy skin with high-quality vitamins and minerals. The Sports Series restores skin from cellular damage and stress. Astridian also offers a revitalizing solution for hair and a professional series for doctors and medical spas. Visit astridian.love today and begin your new journey to healthy, beautiful, youthful skin. Astridian, beyond your expectations.
There are a lot of psychics out there. How do you decide which one is right for you? You look for someone who empowers you, who's practical and spiritually connected, who says, here are your opportunities, here are your challenges, and here's a way to deal with them, and then gives you your own toolbox to make your life everything you want it to be. Hi, I'm Corby Mitleid, and that's how I work with you. As a certified professional tarot reader, I've helped thousands of people for over 40 years through my toolbox. Cards, past life retrieval, numerology, spirit guide conferences, and mediumship. Whether it's career, relationships, finances, or your spiritual road, together we can replace your confusion with clarity. And you'll probably find a little laughter along the way. Visit me at CorbyMitleid.com to find out how to cross your bridge from fear to fearlessness and fly. And tell me you found me at Supernatural Girls for a special gift with your reading. Corby Mitleid, the practical psychic for catching your tomorrows today. Find me at CorbyMitleid.com. That's CorbyMitleid.com.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are you getting screwed on your property taxes? How to find out and how to fix it. Available on Amazon.com.
Are you frustrated with endless mantras, affirmations, and processes that promise to align your life with your dreams, only to find yourself years later in the same space where you began? Do you feel like you must be doing something wrong because nothing seems to be working? Don't you just wish that someone could shift your consciousness for you and your life could align with your desires without all the effort? Well, your wish is about to come true. Hi, I'm Carrie Cannon, and I have a gift that allows me to align the consciousness of others to be in harmony with their dreams. The best part is, it requires no particular effort on your part. Upon listening to a consciousness alignment, people have reported instant energy shifts, financial windfalls, soulmate connections, healed relationships, physical healings, and more. To gain access to a free trial offer for my entire Manifesting Miracles library of consciousness alignments, go to commandmiracles.com now for details. Again, that's commandmiracles.com for information about our free trial offer. That's commandmiracles.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with my co-host, PK, Patricia Kirkman, and George Lugo, and our incredible guest tonight. We're enjoying this so much, and we're learning a lot from Dr. Bruce Cornet with his new book, Unconventional Aerial Phenomena in the Hudson and Wallkill River Valley of New York. Oh, my goodness, Bruce, we could just talk to you all night. You have so much to offer to this whole subject.
Public would like to hear this, more about this information, and see many of the movies and videos. I'm giving 2 talks at the UFO Mega Conference in Laughlin, Nevada, next week. It's starting on the Saturday the 15th and going to the Sunday the 23rd of February. And there are over 36 speakers going to be there for that conference. And I'm going to be giving a talk on the unconventional aerial phenomena on Monday, the 17th of February, in the afternoon. And then on Thursday, the 20th of February, I'm going to be talking about my personal contact with the spiritual and ET group that has been responsible for much of what has happened to me in my life.
Oh, wonderful. Terrific. Yeah, that is great. Now, do you have a website where people can visit you and look at where you're going to be next?
No, I don't have one of those yet. That's a pretty good idea. I mean, something that I probably should have said, because I'm only now just getting into the area of speaking. And I can send you a link to the conference, and you can put it on your website.
Yeah, we'll be happy to. Probably the best place is on our Facebook page, because that's where we have so many people that are following us. So we'd be happy to. And
thank you.
That's great. Yes, that's great. Let's talk about portals a little bit, because you have experience with that as well, and you're certainly well informed on the geomagnetic anomalies that are also connected to the portals. What's going on there? We've heard a lot of stories, Bruce, about portals, and some people who've gone into the forest, and all of a sudden the forest goes dead quiet. They know that something is about to happen that's supernatural, and they also talk about that the magnetic field just seems to collapse at that time. So what do you know about all of these things?
Well, interestingly enough, when I was at NIDS, Dr. Colin Kelleher talked about portals quite a bit, that various pieces of information about them, especially at Skinwalker Ranch. And then Sharon, she is a Bigfoot expert, and she has studied the presence of Bigfoot here in El Paso area in the desert apes, she calls them. And I've heard many a story of people seeing Bigfoot just come out of nowhere and then walk for a distance and then disappear, go into another portal. And we've gone up recently to the Apache Mescalero Reservation. We have friends there that tell us about all of the paranormal and Bigfoot activity that occurs in that reservation, and there's quite a bit. And portals are a major component of it. So one has to wonder just how interdimensional these creatures are that come through. Back in the late 90s, I became associated with several people who were studying the Wanaki or Wanakiew portal that exists below the dam there in New Jersey. And Brian Williams had a special technique that he was very psychic and could sense when something was coming through the portal. And he had a digital camera with a flash on it, and he would turn and take a picture in the black of night, and the flash would illuminate whatever creature was that was coming out of the portal. And sometimes he even caught pictures of the portal opening up and the creature coming out. And lots of orbs were associated with them, etc. And he has a YouTube presentation of the and you can go to his, just Google his name, Sargel 18, Sargel 18, and you can find him on YouTube. And he talks about shows all the pictures of these creatures that come through that portal that he studied. And I've heard stories here in El Paso where people and friends and have actually run into Bigfoot and seen Bigfoot and been chased by Bigfoot. So we even had a recent attack by Bigfoot back in late July of this last year down east of Horizon, where this young woman and her family were out sky watching, showing their son the stars at night, and Juliana had to take had to go into the bushes and relieve herself. And when she went in there, she was attacked and chased by a Bigfoot, and she got all scratched up in the bushes with the thorns, the mesquite bushes, and she was screaming and yelling. And her husband was out on the road with her son, and tried to find out what the heck was going on. And this is all being written up by Sharon in her book. She's writing a 3-volume book on Bigfoot, the different ideas and concepts of Bigfoot around the world. So
they use portals, and we've heard this before, that they are experts at using portals. It's an easy entrance and a quick exit if they need it. And also, we've heard from some people that say, oh, they're just loving and friendly, and then we've heard, no, that's not the case, like the story you just told, where somebody was chased. And I mean, and they whatever was chasing her was tall, dark, hairy, and touched her on her back, and it bruised her on her back, and it became infected, and there was a smell of sulfur as well. Not good. And she saw the creature. It may be the same creature or another creature come up out of the ground through a portal in the ground. So this was the moon was bright, so she could see enough to see the stuff happening. And so that's a recent encounter here in this region of Texas. Anyway, one of the most fascinating stories, and this is going to be told in Sharon's book. It's about a guy by the name of Larry, and I first heard the story when we were at the Mescalero Apache Reservation, interviewing people about stories. This one researcher, he said
he was on a mountain ridge walking along, and all of a sudden everything became quiet, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
He continued to walk, and everything started to become dark, really dark. And it wasn't nighttime. He continued to take, it only took 3 steps before he was in another world. And he said it was nighttime in this world. It was a jungle with all types of large plants around him. And as soon as he had passed through this portal, a hand came down and touched him on his right shoulder, and he could see that it had fingernails, etc. on it. It was hairy, and he heard a voice. It was interesting because it was whatever this creature was. It spoke to him in English and said, "Gotcha."
Oh my!
At that point, he was frightened and immediately backed up. And it was only about 3 or 4 steps. And they had to back up, and he was back in our world again.
Oh.
So he didn't see this portal coming. He couldn't see it ahead of him. The area became quiet. Everything became dark. Then suddenly he found himself in a jungle. Now,
I can't imagine how terrifying that would be. I mean, that is really scary.
Yeah, that is incredibly scary. And there are a lot of people who go missing around the world, in the country.
Yes, there
and
are.
You have to wonder, have they become the food of creatures on the other side?
I think that's a valid question, and there are certainly some young children that have gone missing. And they were out either picking huckleberries with their family, and all of a sudden they're just gone. Or they are playing games with other kids, like hide and seek, and all of a sudden, all the kids come back but one. And, you have to wonder, I mean, again, all these people saying Bigfoot's so gentle and kind, well, maybe not. Maybe there are some that do use us as part of their food chain.
Well, I've always wondered why there is never a connecting of the dots between cattle mutilations and ET drinking blood.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
And there are people, abductees, who have come back and said, there are vats of blood aboard the ships, and the ETs tell them that that's their food.
Oh, wow.
So and there have been desanguinated humans found mutilated too. So
yes,
one has to be aware of things, crazy things like this that may be going on, but we have no control yet over them. And of course, our government doesn't want to try to explain something that they can't.
Yeah, they don't understand it themselves.
Right. And they would rather have us stay dumb and ignorant than to become totally frightened by, monster and spook stories.
Yes. Wow. Gosh, well, this is going to keep me up at night.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I was going to take out the garbage. Forget it now. So
I know, really.
Might be the garbage.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness me! This vampire aliens. That's quite the concept, and I don't doubt it. I really don't, because you're right. Nobody has drawn that connection, or not enough people have drawn the connection between cattle mutilations and that, because all the blood is taken out of the cattle bodies, right?
Right.
I find it interesting, like where you live in the desert there, you can see these Bigfoot, coming out of a portal and going back in right in front of you, instead of being in the woods where you can't see very well, and they kind of come and go. And I noticed that when people chase down these Bigfoot, they'll chase it, and then all of a sudden the tracks just end, and there's nothing beyond that.
Why?
Yeah.
So
it's got to be a portal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the frightening part is that they have the capability of opening the portal and closing it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't think it's that they just have the sight to be able to see the portal. If it's there already, it's something that they can make happen.
So it's like a targeted portal.
Yes.
That's even scarier.
And that area in Pine Bush were on the 29th of April, 1993. And this is in my book. The sightings camera crew came out to do a story on Ellen Crystal and me and her friends at the Dogleg Bend in West Searsville Road. And Ellen and I had come out the night before, since this was all being arranged through her. She wanted to see what was going to happen, if there was any activity out there for the next night when the camera crew would be there. And we had all sorts of stuff that happened on the night before. I mean, really incredible stuff. And one of the things that did happen was they gave me on my photographic canvas a holographic image that the History Channel, they took it and made a show out of it called UFO Vortexes. And they said that this looks like a portal opening up and then closing as the craft light were climbing up into the sky. And if you go just Google Dr. Bruce Cornet on the internet, and you're going to come up with my Monmouth Internet webpage. And if you go there, you're going to see a picture of this incredible image. And I think it's more than just a portal. But on the next night, when the camera crew was there, we had 7 people there with multiple cameras running, professional photographers and videographers, and we had a performance of 6 craft come before the cameras and put on show. I mean, it was like Close Encounters of the Third Kind at the in that show of how they showed up on the Devil's Tower, and they came and put on this incredible show, and then apparently the government shut them down, so they only could take one image from one of the videos and show it on the TV program. It was too graphic. And yet the whole forest underneath opened up with lights and buildings and things that were in the forest that weren't really there in our world, but they showed through that night.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Wouldn't
my God. Like the veil disappears, like a giant portal opened up. And so
and what was that? Tell us more about that, Bruce. So what are we thinking this is? So you're seeing all these buildings, these tall white, what is that? Well,
we flew over the area. Ellen Crystal showed me this one location on the Dogleg Bend, which is on the West Searsville Road, and to the east was this large farm field, part of the Wild Farm, appropriate name. And then there was another tree road in the distance, and then more farm fields beyond that, and a dairy farm. And there was I photographed and documented all these craft coming up out of the ground, and in other words, in photographic time exposures. And then I superimposed about a daytime image of what was there. And in my talk, I'm going to be showing this. And then finally, we flew over it in a helicopter when the Japanese came over, wanted to do a show on Ellen and me, and we were flying over the valley, and we flew over this area where all of this activity was occurring, and there was this Indian mound situated right there where the activity was concentrated. And right to the west of it was this large permanent crop circle that I didn't know what this represented until I read Dr. Susan Martinez's book, The Lost History of the Little People, in which she documents all of the mounds around the country and around the world. And she says one of the typical mounds that the First Nation Native Americans built was associated with a sweat lodge. And the sweat lodge was a large round circle with a domed structure on it, where they they built a fire on top of a mound that heated up stones, then carried them into the sweat lodge and threw water on them to create steam, to create the sweat conditions, the sauna conditions there. And what we saw in the helicopter was an ancient sweat lodge with the unki, the part where the fire is, right at the center of where the all of the UFOs come out of the ground. And so it became clear that the Native Americans, the Lenape Indians that lived in the valley thousands of years ago, were worshiping the lights that were coming out of the ground. They thought they were spirit lights, right?
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were. And so that they wanted to commune with the spirit lights. And amazingly, I took one picture from the Dogleg Bend of a golden light, plasma lights, moving over the top of the hotspot, and all of a sudden there was this flash coming up out of the mound, that Indian mound. And when I got the picture back, it was in the shape of a golden pyramid with light coming up through the middle. And pyramid means pyro-mid, fire in the middle. So they were telling me in no uncertain terms that this is the entrance to their underground base. This is where they lived and have lived for thousands of years. So we are the...
Incredible. So those white buildings that all of a sudden appeared, that was another dimension? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's a parallel dimension that became visible at that particular point.
Oh, my.
So
much going on in that river valley.
Right. We have so much yet to learn, Pat. So much. We are so ignorant of, and it's all because of the science requires that we have something that we can replicate, duplicate, test, and et cetera. And we don't have the instrumentation yet. Those who have developed various types of electromagnetic devices to detect, ghost voices and images and things like that, we're getting close to it, that we're starting to see this invisible world through instrumentation. That is very exciting to me because it'll prove that we are not alone.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do want to bring up because of this discussion of a portal is my late wife, Bonnie. And I sent you material about one of my talks about how I was on a church bus headed back from a Baptist retreat on the 23rd of March, 1981. And this male voice started talking to me. And I was sitting alone, and I looked to see who was talking to me, and nobody was talking to me. And this voice said, "Are you ready to serve God and do whatever he asks you to do?" This is the first time I'd ever been, any discarnate voice had communicated with me. I thought about it for a while. I was divorced, and I said yes. And then the voice said, "There is somebody who needs help. If I bring her to you, will you help her?" And she said, the voice said, and I said, "Yes. When will I meet her?" And the voice said, "Before the year is out." Well, I met her on the 15th of December, 1983. She and her son moved into my house, brand new house, on the 12th of January, 1984. And I lived with her for exactly 7 years, and she died on the 12th of January, 1991.
Oh, nice.
And then at her grave, my mother and I were at her grave, and she appeared in spirit over her grave. And then a second sun appeared in an overhead cloud, sent down a golden beam of light that captured a spirit. We saw it ascend in that beam of light into that second sun. It was 8:30 in the morning. The true sun had barely cleared the trees to the east. And then the light in the cloud went out. It wasn't until much later when I had computer software that I could take images off that video and enhance them, that I found a huge circular domed white mothership embedded in that cloud.
Oh my!
And the spirit of my late wife came back to me and it communicated with me and told me who she was, and that she was actually had incarnated as Bonnie to fulfill biblical scripture. and that I had helped her fulfill that during the 7 years we were together. And there we get
incredible.
with PK's, numbers and the number 7 again. So,
Here we go. 7.
But she had told me right before she died, we watched the movie, all of us. And are you familiar with that movie with Richard Dreyfuss?
Yes.
And and about who died in a plane crash and came back to help his girlfriend get another boyfriend. Yeah, and well, she said that's really happens. And I didn't catch it at the time, but about the she died in January 1991, and then in October of 1991, I was picking up mail from the mailbox at the condos where I lived in Middletown, where we had lived together, and I was walking back to my condo on in broad daylight, in next to a parking lot and the buildings, and this male voice said, "Are you ready to meet the next woman in your life?" And I looked around, there was nobody around me. Again, I was being spoken to by a discarnate male voice. And I thought for a moment, and I realized what was going on, and I said, yes. Then this voice said, "Will you accept the woman we have in mind for you?" And it was "we have in mind for you." And I thought that was rather, but this time I didn't want another blind date. So I wanted to see what she looked like before I said yes. And standing there alone, suddenly this portal opens up right in front of me. I mean, it was about 3 to 4 feet in diameter with a brown ribbon of light, of quivering light. And I was staring into another dimension, parallel dimension. It was an all-white modern kitchen. Everything in the kitchen, the appliances, the floors, the ceilings, the tables, the chair, everything was white. And there was this woman dressed in black sitting at the table. And I immediately thought, well, she's too far away to see. Suddenly I felt my spirit being pulled out of my body. It passed through the portal, and I was hovering over her head. And as soon as I thought that I had seen enough, I felt my spirit being sucked back into my body, and I saw the portal close. Now, that was on a Friday night, evening. On Monday, I go back to work, and I'm walking down the hall to my office, and a colleague comes out of her office, Connie Sanchetta, and she sees me. She says, "Oh, Bruce, so glad I caught you. Can I ask you a personal question?" And I said, "Sure, Connie." She said, "Are you dating anybody?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, over the weekend I talked to an old college friend and realized we were bringing each other up to date on our lives. And I realized that the two of you have a lot in common. And can I be matchmaker? Can I bring you together?" To make a long story short, I met her, and she was the woman I saw sitting at that table in that kitchen. And when I told her my story, she said, "Well, that's interesting because on that same time you were being asked if you would accept the woman they have in mind for you. I was being asked the same thing. Oh, are you ready to accept will you accept the man we have in mind for you?" And I said yes. She said, so I ended up marrying Pat, and so we spent 14 years
What is this,
together.
an ET matchmaking service? You know how many people would want this?
Yes, we are perfectly suited for each other.
That's amazing. Yep. What a beautiful story. Oh, my goodness. What an adventure and a half. It's just incredible. And, again, all of this information that you've so meticulously documented and shared can be found in your book. And, again, the name of it is Unconventional Aerial Phenomena in the Hudson and Wallkill River Valley of New York. Now, Bruce, let me ask you, were you ever able to identify which races of ETs were flying around in the skies above those valleys?
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea because on the 23rd of October, 1994, I was introduced to 2 children I didn't know I had. And this was in a projected hologram over my bed in the morning. When I got up to go to the bathroom, I was moving around my bed in the dark with only a digital clock as light guiding me around the bed. My wife, Pat, was sleeping underneath all of this when it was happening. And I stopped and saw all of this light flickering over the bed. And I began to concentrate on it, wondering where is this light coming from? And it morphed into the image of 3 astronauts floating in space, 2 in NASA-type decompression suits, but without any labels on them, and an alien in a different type of decompression suit. And I was told telepathically to study the 2 humans. One was a woman and one was a man, and the man had a beard on, and I felt that they were related to me. And when the vision was over, I woke my wife and told her what had happened, and she said I woke her in the middle of a dream of me meeting my children. And I said, well, they didn't tell me the names, and she said, in the dream, their names were Nora and Kyle. Turns out they were Bonnie and my children that were conceived and born before Bonnie and I ever met. Now, how does that happen?
Yeah.
And Bonnie told me how at age 17 she was engaged to marry her high school sweetheart. He wanted to marry a virgin. He was very jealous, and suddenly she started developing about a year before they got married all of the symptoms of pregnancy. She had never known a man. She was only 17, and about 4 months later, she woke up. Her belly was flat, blood between her legs, her hymen broken, but no afterbirth or fetus on the bed sheets. That was the date of birth of those 2 children, and they finished their development in an alien incubator. And then I got even a bigger shock when after I met them and realized who they were. I had this thought that Honora had gone to Princeton University. Why? I thought that was for several reasons, but I told Pat I'm going to drive across the state to Princeton and look through the yearbooks. Well, I spent all day looking through them, trying to find a picture of the woman I saw in that spacesuit. And suddenly, when I got to 1992, I was flipping the pages, and there her picture was.
Oh, my
oh
goodness.
My God. But her name was not Honora. It was Tamara, and her birth date was 33 days earlier from that of Honora. So I made a whole bunch of copies of pictures of women, and because Pat, coming home on the bus the following Monday after this had happened, said that she started thinking I was going crazy. And because she hadn't seen this vision over the bed. And she saw this reflection of this beautiful woman in the window. She looked around in the bus to see who was looking at her. Nobody was looking at her. And then the image of Honora said, "Hi, Pat," telepathically. "I'm Honora. I'm your husband's daughter. He's not going crazy." She got home. She came running in and then hugged me and says, I met Honora. You're not going crazy.
Thank God. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
You know, you are so well cared for by these ETs. It's just amazing to me. They've had this long-term relationship with you. And
yes.
It's so friendly and kind for the most part, other than the ray gun episode. But really, you've had pretty great adventures, and there must be a reason for that. There must be a reason why you wrote this book. So again, I want to encourage people to buy it.
That's what I'm going to be talking about, Pat. That's what I'm going to be talking about at the conference. Keep in mind that what I discovered, and it's taken me a long time to figure this out. It wasn't until I read chapter 12 of the book of Revelation that I realized that chapter describes Bonnie's life perfectly, completely. She is the woman who bore the male child. And this gets into a very important religious part of my talk that, and I'm going to be telling the audience, I said, it's highly probable that all those who have wanted Jesus to return, he's already returned. He's walking among us. And he has yet just to tell us officially who he is. And this is going to really change everything when this moment happens. He recently turned 52 years old. And so he's had a lot of time to get to know us on Earth by living among us.
Where do you think he is?
Who is he?
Where?
Where is he right now? Well, I mean, I was paced by two ships right before this holographic image came over my bed. About 12 days earlier, I had gone down to Atlantic City to give a show on a public television show on my work, my UFO work. And when I was driving back home along the coast on the Garden State Parkway, two ships met me on either side. This is night time. And they telepathically talked to me. I didn't know who they were. A male was piloting the ship on the right, and a female was piloting the ship on the left. The one on the right followed me all the way back to Red Bank. And then 12 days later, I meet them, floating in space in decompression suits. And I realized that they were the pilots. And that's the reason why all of this stuff has been happening in Pine Bush, why I had all of these opportunities to take photographs of these. And one of the things that the spirit of my late wife told me after she died, she came back to me and said that she told me her spiritual name, and she told me who she had been in our ancient civilizations. And that was really scary because she said she is behind all of the scripture in all of our religions, she and her group. And so what I have to wonder... So you guys are
very important people in the greater design of all of this. And again, certainly your book is important, your talks are important, so we will post that link for you on our Facebook page so that people can keep track of where you're going to be and what you're going to be speaking about, because all this is important. We would love to have Sharon on the show talking more about Bigfoot. So,
she would love to be on there too.
Oh, we would love to have her. It's one of our favorite topics also. And let's see, what else was I going to ask you about? There's just, I mean, my head is spinning, Bruce. My head is spinning.
Well, we are really in close to the end of the Hebrew 6 days, the 6,000 years. They've been counting it down, and we're within less than 100 years, probably only maybe 30 years from the time that all of this is going to go down. The experiment is going to be over, and a lot of changes are going to take place in this world. So
that's exciting.
If the scripture is correct that, we're going to, it's not going to be, destruction of the earth and all of that. It's going to be, 1,000 years of peace.
We'll
hopefully
take it.
That's what's going to happen.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
We will take it. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for one of the most exciting evenings on this show I think we've all ever had. Right, guys?
Oh, definitely.
Right. Yep.
It's just
Well,
tremendous.
I'm giving a talk, and I've already written the book that it's going to get published this year on Bonnie, and her spiritual name is Kahra, capital K, small a, capital R, small a, which means the spirit of goddess.
Oh.
And she was worshipped by Isis in Memphis in Israel, and she told me that she was Nin Kursag of the Sumerians, of the Anunnaki. She was literally the mother of humanity. So she has a lot of invested interest in humans.
Well, thank you again. We're running out of time, Bruce, unfortunately, and we're going to have to say goodnight to our audience and goodnight to you, and thank you again for everything. We'll be back next week, everybody, with another great show. So be sure to check our Facebook page tomorrow, and Bruce, thanks so much. Thank you, PK.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bruce.
George. And everybody.
Good night. Thank you for everything. It was a wonderful show.
We'll see you on the next show, and we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Don't forget that. So, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural.